Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight at the Millennium stage. Now we present Washington National Opera's preview of Carmen, featuring Domingo Cafritz Young Artist and guest artists.
My name is Ken Weiss. I'm from the Washington National Opera. Next Saturday night, we open our new season with a production of Georges Bizet's passionate Carmen. Tonight, we'll give you a chance to hear many of the most famous scenes from the opera featuring the Domingo Cafritz Young Artists and members of the cast. Carmen, as many of you know, is the story of a pair of tragically mismatched lovers. On the one hand, the Spanish gypsy Carmen, who you just met and who just gave you her philosophy in a nutshell. Her highest ideal is freedom. What she wants to be is like the way she describes love, a wild bird that no one can tame, someone who knows no law. Her unfortunate match is an army corporal named Don José. José appears to be a really law and order guy, strictly by the book, but he has a secret. He has a violent temper. He's in the army because he got into a fight and killed a man, and he had to leave his home in the Basque country in the north of Spain and join a regiment in Seville, where the opera takes place. Maybe Carmen senses the dangerous man lurking beneath the placid exterior. Maybe she wants to let him go. For one reason or another, she picks him out of the crowd on a dusty square in Seville, and she throws a flower at him, a flower that seems to cast a magic spell. We're about to meet Don José in the scene just after he meets Carmen. He is trying to make sense of her gesture. He says that flower has stunned him as if it were a bullet. But his thoughts are interrupted by a familiar voice. It's his hometown sweetheart. It's a girl named Micaela, and she has come with a message from his mother. We're going to hear Michael Brandenburg, tenor, as Don José, as Micaela, soprano Raquel Gonzalez. At the piano is Joel Ayau. The duet is called Parle-moi de ma mère.
Cette fleur-là m'a fait l'effet d'une balle qui m'arrivait. Le parfum est fort et la fleur est jolie. Et la femme, s'il est vraiment des sorcières, c'en est une certainement. Micaela,
me voici.
Quelle joie.
C'est votre mère qui m'envoie.
Parle-moi de ma mère. Parle-moi de ma mère.
The letter Micaela has brought from Don José's mother has a simple message. Now that he's rebuilding his life, he ought to marry Micaela. And José is convinced, except that fate has other things in store for him. He's called to break up a fight at a cigar factory. And it turns out that the fight is between Carmen and another woman named Manuelita, and Carmen has slashed Manuelita's face. The fight starts because Manuelita says that she wants to buy a donkey, and Carmen says, "What do you need a donkey for? You could ride a broomstick." So José is assigned to take Carmen off to jail, and he intends to do it too, by the book. But Carmen proposes another plan. He lets her go, and they meet at an inn on the outskirts of town for drinks and dancing. He's scandalized, and he refuses. But Carmen says to him, "You'll do whatever I like. I know you will, because you're already in love with me. That flower has worked its magic." Here's the seguidilla from Act 1 of Carmen, with Sarah Mesco as Carmen and Michael Brandenburg as Don José.
Carmen, je suis comme un ami, si je sers, si je me livre. Ta promesse, tu la tiendras, si je t'aime. Carmen, Carmen, tu m'aimeras. Las pastia, tu lo promets, Carmen, tu lo promets.
So José lets Carmen go, and as a reward, he gets to go to prison himself. Meanwhile, Carmen does exactly what she said she would. She goes to the inn of Lilas Pastia on the outskirts of Seville. When we next see her, it's 2 months later. The inn is packed with soldiers and with smugglers, among whom are Carmen's friends Frasquita and Mercedes, who are played for us tonight by Jennifer Charest, soprano, and Alexandra Romano, mezzo-soprano. A celebrity arrives at the inn. He is a toreador, or bullfighter, by the name of Escamillo. The soldiers in the inn propose a toast to him, and he responds with a riveting description of the dangers and the glories of his job. And why does he do that job? For the admiration of a pair of dark eyes in the stands, and perhaps for love. Here to sing the famous toreador song is baritone Alexei Bogdanov.
Seigneur, Seigneur, car avec les soldats, il est torero, que s'entendre, pour plaisir, ils sont les combats. Le cirque est plein ce jour de fête, le cirque est plein du haut au bas. Le spectateur perdant la tête, le spectateur s'interpelle à grand fracas. Apostrophe, crise et tapage, osez jusqu'à la fureur, car c'est la fête du courage, c'est la fête des gens de cœur. Allons, à garde, allons, allons, toréador, au garde, toréador, toréador. Et songe bien, oui, songe en combattant, un œil noir te regarde, et que l'amour t'attend, toréador, l'amour t'attend. Silence, à que se passe-t-il? Plus de cris s'élançant, le taureau s'élance en bondissant hors du toril. Il s'élance, il en qui frappe, en chevaroule, en tenant un picador. Un bravo taureau, il est la foule, le taureau va, il vient, et frappe à cœur. En secouant ses banderilles, plein de fidèles, il court, le cirque est plein de sauts. On s'essauve, on franchit le grille, c'est au tour maintenant. Allons, à garde, allons, allons, toréador, au garde, toréador, toréador. Et songe bien, oui, songe en combattant, un œil noir te regarde, et que l'amour t'attend, toréador, l'amour t'attend.
So clearly Carmen has some interest in Escamillo. But as the toreador leaves the inn, here comes Don José, freshly out of prison, didn't waste any time, went right there. And he tells Carmen that the only thing that kept him going, that sustained him during 2 months in prison, was the flower that she threw to him and the memories of her, the visions of her that it evoked. His aria has come to be known as the Flower Song. Here again to sing the aria La fleur que tu m'avais jetée is tenor Michael Brandenburg. Alas, for Don José, being in love with Carmen is never simple. She's a member of a band of smugglers, and they have been urging her to come along with them on a mission. And so she says to José, why don't you desert and come along with us? He's scandalized. He refuses. They have a big fight, and he decides he's going to leave her forever. And just then his superior officer, Lieutenant Zuniga, shows up at the inn, also hoping for a romantic assignation with Carmen. José flies into a jealous rage. He gets into a fight with Zuniga. Now, the gypsies break it up before anything too serious happens, but José's fate is now sealed. He can't go back to the army. And so he agrees to go with Carmen and the smugglers' band into the mountains. And things are great with Carmen for a while. But in a few weeks, the mismatch between José and Carmen begins to show. She wants her freedom. She wants to do and love and act as she pleases. And he is jealous and wants to control her. One night in the smugglers' camp, Frasquita and Mercedes are reading their fortunes in a deck of cards. And they spin lively fantasies about true love and great wealth. They take the reading rather lightly. But then Carmen, who takes the fortune-telling with cards very seriously, sits down to take her turn. And she receives a terrifying message. Death is waiting to take both her and José together. Here's the card trio from Act 3 of Carmen, with Jennifer Charest as Frasquita, Alexandra Romano as Mercedes, and Sarah Mesco as Carmen. That dark vision of Carmen's is one of the things that made the opera a shock and a scandal when it first premiered. You know, it premiered at a Parisian theater called the Opéra Comique. And the people there, the audiences, were used to an occasional serious subject, but mostly they were there for entertainment. They loved exotic locales, so they appreciated the Spanish flavors of the piece, but they were unprepared for the grittiness and the rawness that lurks underneath Bizet's beautiful music. We're going to turn now back to José's childhood sweetheart, Micaela. Despite all the trouble he has gotten himself into, she has not given up on him. She has come, in fact, to the smuggler's camp with a message that may be the only thing that can bring him back from the edge. His mother is dying, and before she dies, she wants to see him one last time. She's alone and terrified in this hostile place. She prays to God to protect her and give her courage. The aria is called Je dis que rien ne m'épouvante. Here is soprano Raquel Gonzalez. Will Micaela be able to pull Jean-José back from the brink? Or will Carmen's bleak vision win out? You know, you can find the answer at any of 12 performances of Carmen, starting next Saturday night and running through October 3rd. And if you want to see many of these performers tonight, you can see them at a special Domingo Cafritz Young Artist performance of Carmen at 7 o'clock on Friday, October the 2nd. To close out tonight's performance, we want to step back to an earlier and happier time in the opera. Remember, I said that Carmen was part of a smuggler's gang and they were pressuring her to go to the mountains. This is the scene where the boss of the gang, a guy named Don Cair, and his lieutenant, Remendado, come to propose the job to Carmen and her friends. They say it's a great job, but they need some feminine expertise to pull it off. As Don Cair, we'll hear Christian Bowers. As Remendado, we'll hear Rexford Tester, and along with them, Alexandra Romano, Jennifer Charest, and Sarah Mesco. At the piano, Joe Layao.
Vous tête une peine. Et terminable ma chaîne. Mais nous avons besoin de vous. Mais nous avons besoin de vous. De vous, de vous, de vous, de vous. Mais vous avez besoin de nous. De vous, de vous, de vous, de vous. Mais vous avez besoin de nous. Car nous l'avons ensemble. Et vous respectueusement. Oui, nous l'avons. Quand il s'agit de trop petites, de péris, de voleries, il est toujours monsieur parfois devant les femmes avec soi. Et sans elle, avec les belles, ne fait jamais rien de bien.
Sans nous, jamais rien de bien, sans nous, jamais rien de bien.
Vous pas de cette vie,
Si fait, je suis de cet avis.
vous pas de cette vie,
Si fait, je suis de cet avis. C'est que moi, je suis de cet avis. On est choisi pour venir. Il est toujours monsieur parfois devant les femmes avec soi. Et sans elle, ne toute belle, ne fait jamais rien de bien.
et sans elle, on est toute belle, on ne fait jamais rien de bien.
Mais quand il s'agit de tromper, de duper, de voler, il est toujours possible pour voir devant les femmes avec soi. Mais il le quand vous voudrez.
Et je la suis.
Ah, permettez, s'il vous plaît, de partir. Mais je ne suis pas du voyage. Je ne pars pas.
Carmen, mon amour, tu viendras. Et tu vas de nous laisser dans l'ombre. La raison, Carmen, tu
Je la dirai certainement.
Voyons.
La raison, c'est que ce moment.
Eh bien,
Je suis
Carmen, sois sérieuse. La chose certaine vous étonne, mais ce n'est pas le premier jour où vous aurez su, ma mignonne, faire marcher le voile de voir, un amour, faire marcher le devoir et l'amour.
Je serai fort aise de partir avec vous ce soir. Mais cette fois, il faut de grâce, il faudra que l'amour s'envole de toi. Ce soir, l'amour passe avant le devoir.
Ce n'est pas la peine d'animaux.
Absolument.
Il faut que tu te laisses attendre.
Il faut venir, Carmen. Il faut venir.
Pour notre frère, c'est nécessaire entre nous.
Je serai l'admets avec vous. Quand il s'agit de tromper, de voler, il est toujours possible de voir devant les femmes avec soi. Ils sont elles, les toutes belles, on ne fait jamais rien de bien. Ils sont elles, les toutes belles, on ne fait jamais rien de bien. Et quand il s'agit de tromper, de voler, il est toujours possible de voir devant les femmes avec soi.